Hello everyone, welcome back. Today's an exciting day because we're going to check in on our multi-grafted apple tree. As you can see, a bunch of different colors of apples here, but we're going to go in closer and look at them. There's 38 varieties that I've grafted to this, and about 10 or 11 have fruit, so that's really exciting. Now the base tree is golden russet, so most of the apples you see are golden russet, but this one is called smokehouse. I grafted that a couple of years ago. It's a really nice variety. There's just two of those. As we go through, you'll see there's like one or two of a lot of these varieties that were grafted, but this is the first year they fruited. So there's two kinds of apples there between the smokehouse and the golden russet. See a red one up there, that's an Arkansas black. We'll take a little bit closer look here. One little apple at the end of the graft. That graft's a couple years old, but Arkansas black is a really late apple. It ripens here around like November 1st, so that's pretty fun. It's a really hard apple. We're going to climb the ladder for this next one here. This tree's kind of tall. This is summer orange. I've actually never had this apple. I just saw that it was one of these really rare old varieties, and I grafted it a couple years ago, and the thing went crazy, and there's a whole bunch. There's probably like 6 or 7 of these summer orange on here. Easily one of the fastest growing grafts on this tree. Those are more summer orange. So we'll do a taste test. We'll do a taste test video on each of these apples individually when they're ready. I haven't really been able to figure out when that one's ready, so I'll probably just taste test one. Here is Fennel gree, which is a really great apple, one of my favorites. Really beautiful. They're starting to turn color, get a little red. Those are like a late September, early October, but they have a strong anise taste. It's really nice. That's actually a flavor in apples, anise flavor. These are one of the strongest anise flavored apples, really nice. Up here we have a Rhode Island greening. I just grafted that last year, and this thing already fruited, which is pretty cool. That's a late variety apple, a lot like Granny Smith, a pretty tasty one, an old heirloom variety. As we look up here, I've got cinnamon spice. Again, we just have one apple of these. Cinnamon spice is one I've also never had, so I read online that it's ready the end of September, kind of mid-September. You always have to remember with those things, though, that every orchard and every location is a little different. This is a mystery one. I lost the tag. Now, the good news is I know it's one of the 38 varieties, so I believe it's called Niagara because I think I have 2 grafts of that. But this is the only one that's fruiting if there are 2, so I believe that's what that is, but I'm not 100% sure. This is winter banana. That's a really pretty apple. Excited for that. That was grafted back in 2021. It's weird, that branch didn't grow much, but it's just got that one fruit on there. It's kind of a cool view of all the different color apples you can see just in one picture. Multi-grafted trees are fun because, you get once these mature, you'll see some of these, like this Darcy Spice right here. Darcy Spice is a really nice apple, aromatic, does have kind of nutmeg, cinnamon kind of qualities to it. Of course, these things are like hints, you know what I mean? They're not, it's not like the apple tastes like cinnamon or nutmeg, but you have those hints of flavor. It's a really nice apple. Here's some more Darcy Spice. That one grew really well, that one in Spitzenberg, but that one hasn't fruited yet, the Spitzenberg. This is Molly's Delicious, also never tried this apple. This was a freebie in a scion order that I ordered, so it's a really pretty looking apple. Actually, I looked online, it says August 15th that should be ready, and I'm recording this at the end of August, so we'll pick that and make a video on it. This is Cox Orange Pippin, one of our most successful grafts. Now, it's funny, a lot of people say it's difficult to grow this one, but I feel like this Cox Orange Pippin is one of our most prolific. Last year we had 1, now we have a whole bunch. So, whole bunch of really cool apples on the tree. It's really exciting. I think that's like 10 or 11 varieties that are fruiting. There's 38 on there. I can't wait to see what it looks like when all 38 are going at once. That's going to be pretty cool. If you're interested in the list, here's the list of all the grafts and the year that I grafted them. It's kind of interesting also to see the ones that haven't fruited yet versus the ones that have. This is also, I feel like, a good way to test different varieties to see if they like your climate and your own microclimate. Like some of these, like Cox Orange Pippin, Darcy Spice, Spitzenberg, Rosemary Russet, have grown like crazy on this tree, although some have flowered, some haven't, but you kind of get a sense of that. I've been adding more crab apples. as you can see, and that's going to be something in 2026. I'm going to plant a couple crabapple trees of edible crabs. So here's another kind of zoomed out picture, kind of looking at everything. It's such a fun tree, and you know that you really could get into this and make like a cider multi-graft tree, like an early multi-graft tree, a later apple multi-graft tree. So I think in the future that's something I'm going to play with, sort of theme the multi-grafted trees. Another cool thing about multi-grafted trees, they're of course space savers, because I mean there's 38 kinds of apples on this one tree, and when they all fruit, there'll be 38 kinds of apples just in this one space. So it's a way, if you don't have a lot of room, you can grow a variety of different kinds of fruit and get more out of your space, which is pretty cool because most people don't really want or need bushels of one kind of apple unless they're doing something with them. So we're making cider with them, and I just like growing all of them and giving them to people and all kinds of stuff like that. But if you just want a variety of apples to eat, a multi-grafted tree is a great way to do it because you get to experiment, play around with all these different varieties, see if you even like them. And if you really do, here's another neat thing. You have a scion library in your yard. So you, for example, on this tree, there's 38 different kinds of scions that I can take. If you're not familiar, a scion is just basically the new growth of the tree branch. You prune it off in the wintertime when the tree's dormant, stick it in your fridge in a bag, plastic bag, and in the spring, graft it onto a rootstock, and you make a whole new tree out of that variety. So this gives you the opportunity, if I like these summer orange that we're looking at again here, I can just take a scion from that and do the same thing I did putting it on this tree, but put it on its own rootstock and make a whole tree out of it. You know, and you're only out the cost of the rootstock, which is like $5, $4 if you order them online. Great way to do it. And then by doing that, you can pick the rootstock you want, how dwarfing do you want it. I'll make a whole video on apple rootstocks because we're growing many, many different varieties. So now that they're mature, I can kind of go around and show you the differences in like Bud 9, Geneva 11, Geneva 935, that kind of thing, MM111, so you can sort of see what those look like, because there's a huge difference. So rootstock does make quite a difference in the size of the tree and the productivity of it. But this allows you to kind of be a mad scientist a little bit and just sort of combine rootstock with fruit type, and you can get adventurous and have some fun with it. But also, like, some of these apples I just like to have a few of, but I don't know if I would want a whole tree of, and so this is a way to do that. The other thing is, don't forget, you can make multi-grafted peach trees with all different kinds of peaches. You can make multi-grafted pear trees, multi-grafted pawpaw trees, multi-grafted cherry trees. So this is something you can do with almost any kind of fruit. And so all of a sudden, this opens a world of variety to you because you don't have to plant 6 pear trees to have 6 kinds of pears. You can just plant one, let it grow out a little bit, and then graft a bunch of different pear varieties into it. Now, you can't graft apples to pear trees or pears to apple trees or pawpaws to cherry trees or anything like that. You have to stay within the type of fruit, but only exception kind of being stone fruit like peaches and cherries and nectarines and almonds can all pretty much go together, plums as well. So there are people that make trees like that are real Frankenstein trees. So you can have a lot of fun because those are compatible. But generally you want to stick apples to apples, pears to pears, pawpaws to pawpaws, and you can do this, and it's just a lot of fun to do and a great way to get more productivity and variety out of your same garden space, and really kind of get a feel for how these trees are produced, because when you order them, you're ordering a grafted tree. So this is just you doing that yourself, essentially. So thank you for watching. I hope this was helpful, and if you're thinking about making multi-grafted trees, definitely leave a comment in the comment section below, and I'll be glad to answer any questions that you might have.